Here, the sun shines 300 days a year, but the shadows are always longer than they seem. Palm trees lean over highways where cars sit frozen, like paused frames. Every traffic light feels like a line between dreams and reality. Days here begin like auditions and end like closing credits. LA doesn't sleep. It rehearses. This isn't a city of stars. It's a city of stories. Millions of lives weave together on boulevards where neon flickers faster than hearts can beat. You can lose yourself in the crowd or become part of something bigger. Here, dreams aren't goals. They're fuel. One lucky break, and the world knows your name. One wrong step, and you fade into the background. Today, you'll discover who really runs this city, the movies or the streets, what hides behind the Welcome to Hollywood sign, and why it's easier to disappear in LA than to become famous. Welcome to the city where dreams always come at a price. A new giant is rising in downtown LA. At the corner of Olympic and Hill, a nearly 60-story tower is taking shape, a skyscraper of the future, with panoramic pools and luxury that for now exists only in renderings. Here, they're not selling apartments, they're selling an idea of status. You're not buying walls, you're buying a place in the city's legend. While the foundation of this dream is being laid downtown, on the other side of LA, the future is already open for visitors. Dataland, the world's first museum of artificial intelligence. Here, the exhibits don't hang on walls. They answer questions, whisper stories, and sometimes even talk about you. It's not just a museum. It's a mirror of the digital age, where algorithms study you as closely as you study them. And if all that tech overloads your brain, head to the ocean. In San Pedro, where old warehouses once stood, West Harbor is coming to life. 42 acres of music, food, and sea breeze. Here, the air smells of salt, not exhaust. Waves crash against new piers, a reminder that LA sits on the edge of the Pacific. The city doesn't just impress with its scale, but with its taste. In 2025, restaurants Somni and Providence earned 3 Michelin stars. At Somni, Spanish cuisine turns into theater, with each dish its own act. At Providence, a California symphony of the sea unfolds, where seafood sings in the hands of the chef. But the old guard is making room for new voices. In Little Tokyo, Chef Ki Kim and his restaurant Ki took home the Young Chef Award. His dishes are Korean minimalism, where every ingredient works like code for the future. Music flows through the city's veins like blood. Sophie Stadium and the new Intuit Dome have become arenas for the world's biggest tours: Beyoncé, Kendrick Lamar, Blackpink. In LA, even the concrete seems to vibrate to the beat. Los Angeles is an archipelago of neighborhoods. Beverly Hills breathes luxury. Venice Beach moves to street rhythms. Downtown builds the skyscrapers of tomorrow. Each district has its own pulse. Together, they weave the mirage of a dream city, a place where reality and fantasy are so tightly intertwined you can't tell them apart. But behind the glittering facades lies another story, the one guidebooks never tell. Myth: Los Angeles is Hollywood. Hollywood is 9 white letters on a hill and crowds of tourists with cameras. The sign, visible from space, won't tell you the truth about this city. The real Los Angeles lives in Koreatown, where neon signs flash in 2 languages. It breathes in Echo Park, where artists paint murals on warehouse walls. It grinds away in the back rooms of casting offices, where dreams often crash hard against reality. Most actors here have never set foot on a red carpet. They wait tables, memorizing lines between orders. Every second person is writing a screenplay. Every third is performing in a theater no bigger than a garage. Myth: Anyone can become a star. Anyone can dream of fame here. That's true. But the dream demands a schedule of steel, endless rehearsals, and faith that borders on madness. Auditions start at 6 a.m. and stretch past midnight. In between are restaurant shifts, acting classes, and more casting calls than you can count. Every year, tens of thousands of aspiring actors and musicians flock to LA. A handful land leading roles. The rest build their Hollywood on rooftops and in abandoned warehouses, shooting short films on their phones, editing them at kitchen tables, and posting them online. Sometimes it's these very videos that go viral and crack open the door to the big screen. Myth. This is a city for the rich. Los Angeles is a city for the relentless. For those sharing apartments 4 ways and writing scripts under the glow of a desk lamp. For those stretching a $1 coffee across 3 hours in a cafe with free Wi-Fi. Yes, luxury exists here, but it lives in a parallel universe behind the gates of Beverly Hills and in West Hollywood penthouses. The real LA is built on the dreams of people who skip lunch to pay for dance lessons and walk miles to save gas for their next audition. Myth. LA is free and laid back. Here, freedom is scheduled down to the minute. Meditation at 6 a.m., gym at 7. Auditions at 9. Work until 6. Editing footage until 3 a.m. And then you do it all over again. Even yoga feels like a competition. Even a walk on the beach turns into a networking event. Freedom here isn't about breaking the rules, it's about deciding which rules you're willing to bend to chase your dream. Myth. Life here feels like a movie. It is a movie. But you're not always the lead. Sometimes you're an extra on a blockbuster set. Sometimes you're behind the camera, watching someone else's success. And sometimes you're just an observer, watching tinted limos roll past. But that's the magic of LA. Every day is a new scene. Every encounter is a potential plot twist. One coffee shop conversation could turn into $1 million deal. Myth. Los Angeles is the city of dreams. LA knows how to light up a dream. But for many, that dream ends under neon lights and palm trees on cold nights. Around 70,000 people here are homeless, not just a statistic, but faces of those who once came chasing success. You can step out of a Sunset Boulevard restaurant and walk a block before running into a tent city. It feels like LA is building Hollywood for some and Skid Row for others. Here, dreaming is always a gamble. It either lifts you to the top or leaves you behind. The city doesn't ask which side you want to be on. It just tests whether you have the strength to survive. But this city has its own set of rules. Some make sense. Others feel completely absurd. Smoking on the beach. The ocean breathes freely, but you don't. Smoking on LA beaches comes with a $150 fine. In a city where the air is thick with car exhaust, they guard the sea breeze from cigarette smoke. Police patrol Venice Beach and Santa Monica, scanning surfers and tourists for offenders. Locals are used to it. They smoke in their cars or in designated zones blocks away from the shore. But visitors are often shocked to hear that the ocean is a smoke-free zone. In California, environmental care goes right down to the last grain of sand. Alcohol in public. Want to sip wine in the park? Only if it's in a paper bag. Without it, you're breaking the law. It's one of the city's strangest quirks, as if the bag magically makes the contents invisible. In Griffith Park, you'll spot families with mysterious paper bags. Everyone knows what's inside, but no one says it out loud. It's an unspoken rule for surviving in a city full of double standards. Loud music. In LA, only the clubs get to be loud. In residential neighborhoods, even Teslas glide in silently after 10 p.m. Break the quiet, and your neighbors won't hesitate to call the police. The fine won't take long to follow. But there are exceptions. In Hollywood, music can thump until sunrise. There, it's part of the job. And in high-end neighborhoods, another rule applies. If you're paying enough in taxes, you can get away with throwing a party once in a while. Here, money buys you more than silence. It buys you the right to break it. Graffiti. Graffiti is legal, if you're Banksy. For everyone else, it's a $1,000 fine and a Reddit post titled, "Caught the Vandal." Local artists play a cat-and-mouse game with the city. They create masterpieces overnight, and by morning, tourists are already snapping photos. Some works become so iconic that the city officially protects them from being painted over. Here, street art is a gamble between fame and a fine. The subway without chaos. Los Angeles is a city of cars, but even on the train, there are unspoken rules. Don't eat, don't talk loudly, and if possible, don't breathe in the direction of the actor sitting across from you. The subway system here is young, but passengers have already found their rhythm. In the carriages, people rehearse lines, type out scripts on their phones, or hum melodies into headphones. It's a moving creative lab where everyone is working on something. Dress code: none. At Erewhon, the guy next to you might be wearing a silk kimono and a final draft tattoo on his forearm. In LA, the dress code is no dress code. Pajamas can be a statement. A business suit might mark you as an outsider to the creative scene. The city embraces every style experiment. Pink hair, vintage gowns, futuristic sunglasses. Every Angelino is a character searching for their look, and the city gives them room to find it. E-scooters with a catch. There are more e-scooters in LA than palm trees. But here's the twist. You can't park them just anywhere. Leave one on the wrong street, and you're looking at a $200 fine and a locked account. For locals, it's routine. For tourists, it's a side quest. Leaf wars. Sweeping the street is the homeowner's responsibility. If leaves from your palm tree blow into a neighbor's yard, they can report you. It sounds trivial, but in Los Angeles, entire blocks have feuded over this. This city's freedom of expression often tricks visitors. LA feels so laid back that you assume getting around will be just as easy. But Los Angeles is a master of surprises. Thought everything was close? LA is an archipelago of neighborhoods spread across an area the size of a small country. From Hollywood to Santa Monica is 30 kilometers. From Beverly Hills to Pasadena, another 40. Without a car, you're not a traveler, you're a captive. On the map, everything looks nearby, but in reality, it's an expedition. Every neighborhood has its own rhythm. Venice Beach feels like a non-stop festival. West Hollywood runs like Swiss clockwork. Forgot to book parking? In LA, your car is an extension of your body. But parking? That's a whole other quest. Downtown, free spaces vanish by 9 a.m., and a parking ticket can easily cost more than your lunch. Locals reserve spots ahead of time or rely on parking apps. Tourists often burn half a day circling for that one open space. Hoping to see stars? They're not hanging out on the Walk of Fame among street performers. Celebrities grab breakfast in Silver Lake and vanish before you can even pull out your camera. Most avoid touristy spots like the plague. They live in gated communities, drive tinted SUVs, buy organic groceries in Venice, and wear sunglasses even when it's overcast. Your best chance to spot one? In line for coffee at 7 a.m., not on a red carpet at night. Took an Uber at 5 p.m. Congratulations, you just bought a ticket for a complimentary tour of LA traffic. 4 neighborhoods, 3 hours, one frayed set of nerves. At rush hour, the city turns into a giant parking lot. Locals know the rules of survival. Schedule anything important before 10 a.m. or after 7 p.m. Tourists try to see it all at once and end up seeing nothing but brake lights. Went to the beach in January without a sweater? The ocean looks inviting, but it's cold. This is California, not the Caribbean. The water hovers around 14 degrees Celsius, and the coastal wind cuts straight to the bone. Local surfers wear wetsuits year-round. Here, beaches are more for walks and photos than swimming, though there are always a few thrill-seekers who dive in for the adrenaline rush. Showed up without a plan? In LA, even spontaneity runs on a schedule. Want a table at a trendy restaurant? Book a month in advance. Dreaming of a studio tour or concert? Tickets sell out in minutes. The city has taught locals to plan every step. Without it, your vacation can turn into endless lines and parking struggles. LA rewards those who do their homework before landing. Thought every corner looked like a movie. LA has picture-perfect angles everywhere and crowds to match. The Walk of Fame isn't glossy, it's cracked concrete and street vendors on every block. Venice Beach isn't just surfers, it's tents of the unhoused every 50 meters. Locals find beauty in unexpected places, faded hilltop parking lots, abandoned motels, or the roof of the Standard, where the city feels like a scene from a noir. Relaxed on the beach without an umbrella? California's sun is deceptive. You can get burned in 30 minutes, even in January. Tourists arrive without sunscreen and by noon are sprinting to CVS for aloe. Locals know the rule. The LA sun shines 300 days a year and burns all 365. Arts District, the street as a gallery. Here, every wall is a canvas, every alleyway an exhibition hall. The Arts District has become the largest open-air gallery in the city. Graffiti sits alongside installations, and old warehouses have turned into studios for artists from around the world. At Blue Bottle Cafe, your coffee might be made by a former HBO cameraman, someone who once filmed wars and now pours stories into every cup. This is where you'll find works by unknown street artists and sip a latte from a man who's held a camera in the most dangerous corners of the planet. West Harbor, a dock for life. The project isn't open yet, but you can already smell the salt air and caramel corn. On the site of old port warehouses, they're building 42 acres of waterfront, a space for music, restaurants, and long walks under the ocean breeze. Los Angeles reminds you, it's not just highways and smog. It's also the ocean, breathing right alongside the city. Dataland, the AI Museum, the world's first artificial intelligence museum. Here, the exhibits don't hang on walls. They speak. Sometimes they even talk about you. Algorithms read your gaze, analyze your movements, and create personal stories. You walk in as a guest and leave as part of the exhibit. Griffith Park at sunset. Yes, it's a tourist cliché. But standing 300 meters up by the observatory, you're looking out at a city where every light is someone's dream. Los Angeles spreads out like a glowing map of desires. And in that moment, you realize you're already part of the myth. Echo Park Lake, the sound of the city. Ducks glide between boats, and a guy with a ukulele sings a tune that's racked up millions of streams. This is LA, raw talent in a random place, a song that could be tomorrow's hit. The lake in the heart of the city is an oasis where time slows down. Here, you feel LA's heartbeat, without the chaos, without the pressure. Sophie Stadium, a temple of rhythm. It's not just a $5 billion stadium. It's a temple of modern music, where bass lines drown out your doubts and stage lights turn every spectator into part of the ritual. This is where Beyoncé, Taylor Swift, and BTS fuse 70,000 voices into the city's collective pulse. El Matador Beach, a hidden cove. Tourists pack into Malibu but locals come here. A narrow path leads you down to a beach of wild cliffs and caves, where the ocean's roar drowns out the sound of cars. There are no cafes, no souvenir stands, just wind, sand, and the quiet conversations of surfers. This is LA, stripped of all its sets and props. Grand Central Market, the taste of LA. Here, Mexican tacos sit next to Vietnamese po. Ethiopian buns compete with California oysters. This isn't some tourist food court, it's the city's melting pot. 1 hour here feels like a culinary tour through all the cultures that make up Los Angeles. Mulholland Drive, LA from above. At night, the winding road lifts you above the city. Below, thousands of lights flicker like the circuits of a giant motherboard. LA feels endless, and yet fragile. Up here you realize the metropolis is massive, but every light belongs to a single, quiet life. Los Angeles is not a city that greets you with open arms. It's as indifferent as a producer at a casting call, but generous to those who know how to look. There's no true center here, only thousands of crossroads, and any one of them could be the start of your story. If you've come for fame, the city will put you in line. If you've come for a story, it might just let you live one. In return, you'll get light you can't escape, silence in a motel behind Hollywood, sand under your nails after a Malibu sunset, and the sense that you've glimpsed a future someone already wrote on a screen. You don't conquer Los Angeles, you listen to it, you capture it, and you don't fear being an extra while you write your own script. Want to find yourself? Look between the myths. Want to become someone? Be the one who didn't quit when the palm trees turned into props and dreams became daily work. Because Los Angeles isn't where dreams come true. It's where dreams learn to live in reality.